Hello and welcome everyone to a new Heroes of Might and Magic free video, where in this one we're gonna be making a tier list. It's been a while since the last one and I missed making one quite a bit. For this one we're gonna be going over the faction rankings for the current latest dual version. That will be 2.69k. Now, the version is actually coming to a close and it will no longer be the latest version since very soon, okay? But it's been a long time since we actually had an established meta where we are at least close to knowing which factions are the best and why compared to the others. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. We start off with the powerhouse of the entire game, and that is Castle. Castle is a faction that was always like pretty good. It used to be literally the best one by far, like so much better than any other faction that you would immediately slam 10k on the trade. That's how good it used to be. Right now it's not actually that good because you need knowledge for early game. And you don't really get knowledge because you have to pick a might, and knights don't really roll for a lot of knowledge. So, you know, Castle has some issues right now, but nevertheless, stables, really good quality boxes, except for griffins, and, you know, the angel potential for late game as well. All of that is actually, like, pretty amazing. Putting Castle at the top of the tier list. Next up is we have Necropolis. Necropolis is probably one of the factions that is, like, the least agreed upon in terms of, like, ranking. Some people say that Necropolis is like pretty bonkers. They have like late game with skeletons. They actually have like really good tempo with the vampires and so on. But sometimes they can actually just randomly die on the road because their starting army is like super abysmal. And yeah, they have their high roll potential is huge and they can do like a lot. However, they can like spontaneously die, or they could just not walk into a vampire boss for like the entire game. And then the faction feels like absolutely horrible to play. I would say, whether you high roll or low roll, the faction is still gonna be like pretty good, pretty okay. It's not like at the top as some players would claim, but it's at least A tier in my opinion. Next up is we have Dungeon. Dungeon is of course gonna be controlled by the Demer. Demer with his early meteor showers, as well as 2 Mad Vortexes being available from the very early game, is gonna do like a fantastic job at clearing like the early fights and get you like a lot of cheap tempo. You know, you get like 1 box of a meteor shower that will get you like Medusas or Monitors, and then those can clear the entire map immediately. Also, Demer has no problem just rolling 4 schools of magic on his own. He doesn't have to rely on the Magic University in order to get it. Still though, I would not say that they are better than Castle. However, I would say Dungeon stands toe-to-toe with Castle at the S tier. Next up is we have Rampart. Now, Rampart is actually, it used to be underrated for so long, okay? It used to be treated as the worst faction of the entire patch. However, I feel like I personally made a lot of people change their opinions by, you know, having like, some really strong Rampy games and claiming very many victories in a very dominant fashion. I usually go Eris. Eris can actually make use of any army, whether it be like Dwarves Dendroids, or maybe you go like Elves Pegasi. Whatever you get, you can actually make really good use of that. And also you can get bosses early and easy because 1, you have scouting on Eris immediately, and then 2, you end up getting a lot of knowledge because you're playing a druid, meaning that you can use all the control scrolls that are available to you immediately and easily. Because of that, I would say it's not as bad as people used to claim, but it still is lacking from... Basically, the main thing it's lacking is the availability of building. In order to upgrade the Pegasi, you need to get like a bunch of crystals. It's not easy to do. They require like so much wood to actually play the game as well. You need the Magic University, the Homestead upgrade, every single unit upgrade costs like lots of wood. Not every single, but most that you care about at least. So yeah, they are still C tier, but not D tier as many people would have claimed. I'm pretty sure most would agree by this point. Next up is we have Conflicts. Now see, Conflicts is good for a very interesting reason. In Duel, it is a rule that the adjacent underground zone that you start with is going to be having a town of the Conflict faction, except if there's a Conflicts player in play. In that case, the conflicts town is gonna be in the overground. And you see, by picking conflicts, the opponent will not be able to go for the Magic University consistently in the underground, meaning that you actually sabotage your opponent by playing comfy. Not to mention, you have like a way easier access to the Magic University yourself, and you get like a very strong, good game too. I would say Conflux is better than Necropolis and is top of A tier with its sabotage potential, as well as, you know, just being generally strong. Next up is we have Cove. Now, Cove is led by Uvashius. Uvashius gets plenty of mana, so he can use all the control spells very, very easily. And also, of course, he gets the Clone, which is really good when you get like a bunch of ranged or fast army. And that is exactly what Cove has. They have ranged and fast army. And because of that, it's like a very nice combo. Whatever bosses you end up rolling with on Cove is gonna be like really, really good. I would say it stands at S tier alongside Castle and Dungeon. It's a very, very powerful faction. Next up is Inferno. Inferno is very much like Rampy. It feels like Rampy, despite it not being like that similar. But as a player, I kind of feel like that. The faction offers pretty good power stacks, like pretty strong power stacks. This is the faction that can do Utopias almost the easiest out of all, because you either get Pit Fiends, Dogs, or Demons. Whatever you get, you're going to be able to go for the Utopias very easily. Also, this is one of the factions where it's really widely not agreed which you should go for. You have Nymus, Aiden, and Fiona as primary choices. One of the top players on the ladder, Dolphy, ends up going usually for Marius, but I usually like Fiona, and we both have like pretty good games, so actually the faction is like a little bit diverse. But yeah, and it's hard to choose a hero and you never know what kind of army you'll end up getting. Then again, you can always commit to like demon farming, but demon farming tends to be outshined by double building in mid. So I would say demon farming is not really that exciting, at least right now. And so I put this faction in C tier. Next up is we have Fortress. I would say Fortress is going to be the worst faction of the entire patch. They have almost nothing going for them. And what ends up happening is that you have to pick like a Might Hero because their Mage Heroes like kind of suck and they don't really fit the VA faction. So you end up going for Broghild. Broghild is a good hero, but he doesn't get any knowledge. And yeah, he can't really tempo almost anything at all. It's really hard to build up the town as well. So yeah. Most usually the strategy for Fortress is to go Broghild and inflict Wyvern Nest and make like a decent stack of Wyverns for beginning of week 3, at which point you're going to be going to break and hoping you'll be having a good game. But that is just weak. I would say Fortress is D tier. Awful. Next up is we have Stronghold. It's kind of funny, okay? Stronghold is almost always, in pretty much any format that you play, well, at least that I play, middle of the pack. And this is no exception. They belong solidly in B tier. They are the guardian between, I mean, they're the thing in the middle between the bad factions and the good factions. Stronghold is pretty good. If you get like 1 or 2 rock bosses, actually Shiva can dominate the entire map like super fast. Though Shiva cannot roll water magic, so their really late game is actually kind of compromised. It's a little bit hard to play against somebody that will be having water magics. Not having access to Clone, Prayer, Teleport is like pretty bad. At least expert level of those spells, by the way. So yeah. And last we have Tower. Tower is one of those factions that is really underrated, okay? First of all, it's really wide, so it flashbangs your eye, so honestly you're immediately like debuffed IRL by playing the faction. Then they also have like mages, which don't have any might, meaning that your units feel like they deal no damage despite having lots of them, and it's just not a very good feeling all around. Despite this, I would say the faction is actually decently strong. At least not as weak as many people claim it to be, but nobody wants to play it. So it ends up getting like really underrepresented. I would say it's actually in between Rampy and Inferno. Exactly right here. Many people will say it's like right here. At least that's how we trade, by the way. We maybe sometimes even pay for Fortress over Tower. Despite Tower clearly being better than some of these factions. Because, yeah, nobody likes Tower, honestly. Who likes Tower? Maybe viewers who can just enjoy the aesthetics without having to endure the painful gameplay. Anyway, this is my faction ranking for the current version of Duel, which is 2.69k. New version is actually about to be released, 2.69L. But I really wanted to do this video anyway, to share the current meta with you. And, you know, I'm gonna be looking forward to the next one as well. I thank you for watching, and until next time, bye-bye.